But the relationships, the people you get to meet, being a part of that world, you are now a part of Star Trek history. You're part of the canon. You have brought this to families all over the world where they're doing what we did when we were kids. They're watching TV together as a
Hmm.
family unit, as quality time, and you
Yeah.
have provided that for them. You've given them these memories that they're going to remember when they're our age and it gets rebooted or a new series gets put out. They're like, oh, remember when we watched that? When we watched the third season of Picard? Oh, it was so good. How we cried. That is a magical thing. And I'm so jealous. It's like, what
I'm
a
jealous of myself now by you pointing it out that way. You don't think about it, and nor can you or should you when you're doing it, because then maybe it would color your approach to it. You just got to do it with
I
sincerity.
think you
Y-
kinda did think about it because you said yourself, you were a fan of Trek,
Mhm.
either
Mhm.
casual, heavy, whatever. You were a fan of it, and you knew what you were doing, like, when you were talking about Worf. Really not much you need to do, but maybe age him a little bit more, make him a little bit more, refined, a little more spiritual. But you knew the weight that Worf carried. And the fact that you can see that in everything in Kirk's makeup as Krill
Mhm.
and Sneed, and you can see that the respect for the franchise and the history and the canon was there. So I think you did know that part, but you kind of went in with a lot of humility, thinking you're taking care of someone else's baby, but
Yeah.
now it's become yours as well.
Yeah, you gotta be conscious of
Mhm.
the task. Um, someone once asked, "What's it like when you create something that becomes iconic?" And usually that's because it's coupled to a franchise. So Star Trek, obviously.
Mhm.
Saru is now an iconic design, iconic character. I can guarantee you, although I knew the responsibility of doing a good character,
Mhm.
I didn't go in thinking, wow, I, Neville Page, I'm about to create cinema history. Prepare yourselves, world, for my vision. It certainly is. It is not that at all. Um, Partially because, again, you're just doing it quick and you're like frazzled by schedule, the cost, whatever it is. You're not thinking about, wow, how am I going to impact the world? And then I guess my humility sometimes gets in the way of enjoying what you just described. But I can stop and go, wow, I'm watching kids play with that toy. I'm watching people who now see this as it's personal.
Mhm.
And that working on any film, TV show, piece of entertainment is a privilege because there's so many of us that would like to do it. I mean, I was one of those people that dreamed of doing it. I'm fortunate to be doing it. So it is a privilege to just be associated in this industry in a lot of ways, as faulted as it can be at times. But the you should never, I think, be fully aware of that responsibility going into it because it can be overwhelming. I
Mhm.
did feel it on Wharf.
Mhm.
Because I guess it's maybe just a summation of having worked on the franchise for so long. I thought this one's important, Neville. Don't do it right. The thing that's interesting though, and it's an odd thing to say out loud, not to the public if you're watching, but the possibility that executives, CBS, J.J. Abrams, Terry Metalis might hear me say this. I'm thinking, ooh, is this what I want to say out loud? But it's important to say it out loud because it's true. And why not live your truth? When I design almost on anything, but especially a beloved franchise, the the design work that I'm putting into it, I've been given the description. I've read the script. I've been told what my job is, what to do. I take all that and go, got it. That will be honored. However, I'm going to pay attention to the audience because they're going to look at it in tremendous, with very critical eyes,
Yes.
on pause, in books, in stills, in their toys, whatever it is,
Mm.
and they're going to ask questions about those choices. Whereas you, the boss, isn't necessarily, it's an assumption that we're going to do our best job, but they're not telling us, "Oh, what I really need you to do. The camera's never going to see it, but I really need you to pay attention to the bottom of the shoe." No one's going to ask you to do that. But when you're designing something,
Yeah.
you know that the Star Trek fans in particular are going to look at the bottom of the shoe and have questions about the choices. And it's not a matter of having to answer to the fans. That's not how I approach it. It's more a goal of providing thorough, well thought out ideas if you're dealing with a square inch of a particular area of a thing. That's the responsibility that I cherish. And it is a total focus to the fans and has nothing to do with the writer, the director, the producer, the cinematographer. It has nothing to do with them. They're the benefactors
Hmm.
of the fans loving it so much that artists like myself will pay attention to those details. Hope that made sense.
It did, and it's that attention to detail that makes it immersive, and that's what Trek fans want. That's what
Mhm.
any fan, but especially sci-fi fans, really want. They want this immersive experience. They want to escape reality for a minute. Hell, if I wanted reality, I would pay attention to my kids, but I don't want to do that right
Nobody
now.
wants that reality.
No, I'm
It's why
trying.
Star Trek is so successful because we have kids.
Only every once in a while do they show up on this show.
Mhm.
But no, it was the attention to detail was just perfect. Like I was the bridge on the well Enterprise G,
Yeah.
but it even the wood grain, even the
Isn't it
wood grain,
insane?
it was just absolutely perfect. And the fact that fans these days do this new thing where we pick everything apart, we freeze frame, find an Easter egg, find what you're trying to tell us, like
Mhm.
we've created this whole really we've created a whole new genre out of it, the breakdowns and everything on here on YouTube. Um, and so I asked Dave, I was like, the Easter eggs, was there anything particular, like a reason, like why this? He said, no, it's just stuff we liked. It was part of
Excuse me.
their lives, and it was stuff we liked, and
Mhm.
so we put it in there. Was there anything in your designs that, "Oh, I hope someone sees this. I hope someone catches this." Was there anything that you threw in for funsies for yourself to see if anyone would catch it?
It's a great question. Um, years ago, excuse me, years ago when I was doing toy design, uh, I thought it would be fun. It was a military World War II type of vehicle, and I thought it'd be fun to, because of the love I have for my nieces, is to get their name in there. So, government issue, stenciled, numerical thing, serial number. I did their name in code, and I thought, hee hee, got it in there. And I felt guilty ever since because it was like, why did you do that? That was totally personal. That's actually not cool to throw something personal in. It's amusing many, many years later, perhaps,
Mhm.
but it's kind of not cool, in my opinion, to do that. It does become amusing years later, but it's somebody else's product. And for you to put your personal stuff in there, again, I don't think that's very mature or responsible. No offense to anyone that does it. Do your thing, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, it's just not for me. What I prefer to do in terms of Easter eggs is to do that same idea of plant something, but it's totally connected to the lore, the canon, the
Yeah.
narrative. So a better example of that that comes to mind immediately is on the Klingon torchbearer spacesuit.
Mhm.
And I like this not out of arrogance, but it's a great example that I share with my students about if you're going to do something, this is a suggestion of what I would um, provoke you to do. There's tons of details up and down that suit, loads of details. So those details were never reviewed by the team because it just wasn't the time. I'm just forging ahead at a breakneck pace trying to get this thing done. So it's not as if I wish, but it wasn't the scenario where we could have meetings and talk about this detail and have several people chime in. It's like, I'm doing a detail. It's 3 a.m. Nobody gets to be a part of it because that's just the nature of the beast.
Right.
And that's where you got to be very careful about the Easter egg thing. It's like you start putting your niece's name in a Klingon suit. It's like, come on, dude. So there's a thigh pad part of this costume,
Okay.
and I'm trying to come up with a detail that satisfies the given goal of it's self-aware art, it's nuanced, it's a torchbearer, so it's ceremonial, so you can get away with adding a little bit more flourish here and there. And there was an opportunity to do like a skull head or something, which is a little low-hanging fruit as a motif. And I just sat there thinking, what else could it be? What else could it be? And I thought, well, this suit is all about going out, and it's the Klingons. So going out into space, into war. Today is a good day to die. And I'm thinking of all these things about the Klingons that are in canon because I did my research. And I thought, ooh, I think there's an opportunity to manipulate the shape and have it be, because I've already established a Klingon skull from a previous prop
Yeah.
piece. So I got my Klingon skull, and I'm thinking, okay, that's their death mask. The skull would then make sense to be utilized more often than not because that's the Klingons.
Yep.
They embrace death. And then I thought, the submission into death, how do you represent that visually?
Mm.
And I just imagined falling off of something backwards, upside down, falling to your death, arms out. It's sort of, I didn't want to provoke an Antichrist thing, an
Right.
upside down cross, but there was an element of that there, not Antichrist, just submission, cross like, upside down,
Mhm.
and using the skull face. And as I was doing it, and this is where a life metaphor comes into play, and that is as you're doing something on the board or in life, can you step back, take a moment, and observe what is happening? Not what you are doing, but potentially what is happening to you
Right.
outside of what your intention was. And I saw it with these two arms outstretched and thought, hold on. If I just, it's hard to see here, if I take this arm and go up and
Uh-huh.
take this arm and go down, I saw the Klingon logo.
Oh,
And I thought,
yes.
let's embrace that. And let's now create an origin story for the logo. So
Oh,
when you overlay the two, so it became, there was an intention of thought. Given a moment to pause and think about it, you allow stuff to become present to you visually, narratively. And that one was fortunate that it just gelled. And I thought, oh, this could be something pretty cool.
yeah.
Now, wait a minute. I, Neville, am stepping into a franchise deciding to offer up an origin story to the Klingon logo. Touch presumptuous, but hey, it's there if you want it to be there. And I remember sending it to Alex Kurtzman, and a few others who really needed to know about it, saying, got this idea, are you comfortable with it moving forward? And they were. So then I just kind of made it such that it was a little bit more evident, and that then became the origin story to the logo, because we didn't have one. If there was one that existed, I wouldn't touch it, but because it didn't exist to my knowledge, I thought this is a really good opportunity that I think fans would appreciate.
Yeah.
And so it was risky, but again, it's all over the suit. Every square inch of that suit has purpose, has Easter eggs, but not personal ones relevant to Klingon lore. The entire thing, I'm looking at my 3-foot tall version of the suit here in my office, which I can't turn my camera to, but it's riddled with religious, cultural iconography from all over the planet. And that was born out of, is it possible that the Klingons were the first alien visitors on this planet, Earth? And they came with these shapes and motifs and flourishes and textures and patterns, and various cultures adopted them. And I'm not saying that the Klingons seeded Earth. I'm just saying that it's possible that the Islamic patterning and the Christian forms and the Naga from various Asian cultures are from the Klingons. So how does that work? How do you reconcile that? Well, you need cool looking stuff.
Right.
This thing needs to look cool. And there's very little way to create stuff that you've never seen before, and at least not have people go, I get the metaphor, that looks like, and that's okay. So I wanted to be a bit more purposeful with this, and then create a story. So when the design was just about complete, I said to the various people who really are going to have to deal with this choice of mine, are you comfortable with this ancient alien theory? And it came down to this: Neville, it's there. It's desirable. It's not something we need to advertise because that's not what this moment is about. But if the fans spend some time looking at it, they're going to have questions. And someone needs to answer those questions. And if your answer to those questions is because you felt it was cool looking, I liked that design, I liked this idea, then it's for the totally wrong reason. But why is there an upside down Christ-like figure all over its legs? What personal message are you trying to send? It's like, no, it's the origin of the Klingon logo. Then it's like, oh, that's acceptable. Personal opinion is not. So that's how I approach design kind of for everything. Is you got to have an answer, because most of the design we do doesn't get noticed. If somebody notices it and it's like, how did you come up with that design? I say, well, that's my niece's name. It's like, well, you're a jerk. This is not about you, is it? And it's not. So you got to be careful when you start planting Easter eggs, unless that Easter egg, it's like, well, that's Roddenberry's name backwards. Okay, that's fans will like.
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!
From sci-fi dreams to super real schemes, she's the queen of comics and everything in between. Makeup brush in one hand, pen in the other, stars to Marvel fights, breaking nerdy news, keeping chat up all night. She's got